Welcome to another episode of the Nashville Dads. This week we have a musician, Gordie Tentrees. We talk about his work using music to help communities heal, going from tour to home life, wanting his kids to be resilient, not wanting his daughter to date yet, and his new album he'll be recording in Nashville. We really hope you enjoy the episode.
They're the best thing that's literally ever happened to me. So I quite like talking about them.
How many kids do you have? Ages, all that good stuff?
Yep. I got 4 kids. The oldest one's 22. The second oldest is 18, and then 12 and 11. 3 boys and 1 girl.
Oh man, where's the girl fall in the lineup?
Second youngest. And it's a lot different. I don't know if you have a daughter, but it is a lot. I have no spine, and I don't want her to leave the house ever. And she's told me recently that she's going to start dating next year because she'll be in high school. And I told her that she will be dating in the future. And she said, "Really?" And I said, she said when? And I said, when I'm dead. That's how long it'll be.
So that's why you had a bad meal tonight. She was actually poisoning you with ketchup so she could go on a date next week.
She is. I walked by her room the other day and she was putting this thing on her lips. And I said, "What is that?" She goes, "It's lip plumper. It brings out my lips." And I thought, "Oh, what?" And I closed the door to her room and said, "Talk to me, and you're allowed out in 8 years. That's it, you know."
You went ahead and bought the deadbolt for the other side of the door and locked it.
Yeah, I finally convinced her yesterday. I explained that makeup's for, she's already beautiful. You don't need to put, paint on your face.
Yes.
You got it going on. You're hiding your face. So for special occasions, like funerals, weddings, deaths, or your father's death, that's when you wear makeup, but no other time.
That's awesome.
And she's been sneaking the eyeliner on, and she's like, I said, "You got some eyeliner?" And she's like, you can't tell." And I'm like, I'm scrubbing it off there with my fingers right now, but in public. Unless you want to do it yourself before we go out. So anyways,
That's awesome. I go daughter, son. So if anything, I've built up my resistance to the daughters, and the son is the one who I'm like, oh man, yeah, you're going to get away with murder because you're the one that's different. Like, I've already built up all the resistances to the girls, but the son, I'm like, wait, how do I do this?
Yeah.
You live in Canada, right?
I do. I live in the Yukon, which is 27 hours driving north of Vancouver if you don't use the bathroom. Straight north.
That's awesome.
And right now I'm 2 hours west. 2 hours west of where I live in a rural community near the Alaska border. I actually work out here every other week when I'm not on tour and I'm home on a horse farm, writing songs with families that are on a healing path towards, things like addiction and trauma. And lots of song healing. So that's what I'm doing. I'm making music, grief, singing, and song healing. So I'm out here for a couple of days, and I kind of think about it as I just went cross-country skiing. We can, there's lots of snow here. There's quite a lot of snow. And it's kind of like my little retreat because I have to stay overnight for 2 nights. So every other week I come out here, and I kind of get a little reprieve. It's nice. Yeah. Yeah.
That's really cool. I very much believe in the healing power of music and that music can communicate things whenever our words can't. How did you get involved with that, or how did you get started on that? Because that's really cool.
Yeah, I've been working with family and children since I was 16 years old. I started working with kids, autistic kids, and then kids in group homes in my 20s and university and stuff. And then I'm 50 years old now and became a school teacher. I was a school teacher for a while, and then I've been working with kids my whole life. Other than playing music, I didn't start playing music till 2002. So I played my first live show. Working with kids, it was a natural thing to put the two together. I actually 4 years ago was asked to come out and be a part of this program that's really trying to do things for people that don't have anything other than they go out for treatment or detox, and they come back to the same situations they left 30 or 60 days later. So this program
Yeah.
is for, after you've done treatment and you come home and you want to surround yourself with good things and fill your days with good things. And so music's a big part of it. And sometimes we get families that have lost a member recently from an overdose
Hmm.
or a sudden death. So we do lots of grief stuff. It's great.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's really impactful and it's proactive. It's not like other things I've done where you just put a Band-Aid on something. You're actually kind of
Yeah.
with the situation and ahead of it. And it's cool. It's really something to be proud of. I'm proud of my whole team. It's really cool. Cool group of people.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think getting sober is one thing, but staying sober is a whole other challenge. So that's really cool that you're trying to like equip people with more tools or more like, hey, whenever you're feeling this way, play music, all that stuff.
Yeah, and definitely being sober is a big part of it, but also
Mhm.
a lot of families that I'm working with, have survived in Canada, have survived genocide, especially in the
Oh,
indigenous
okay.
families here, right? So this is an
Yeah.
indigenous land-based healing program. And so a lot of
Yeah.
the stuff that creates issues, whether it's domestic violence or poverty or addiction, are all these are all trauma based things, right? So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool to be a part of something that's like I said, proactive. It's neat.
I wish I had better words for saying how cool I think that is, but I very much believe that music heals a lot, and there are a lot of communities who have had a lot of wrong done to them, and trying to find any way for them to feel like they can heal or be proactive about it, I think is extremely important.
And I forgot that when I play concerts and I just play shows,
Hmm.
the more I keep doing this job, I'm realizing I'm talking a bit about that more off the stage, and I'm realizing that
Yeah.
no matter where I go, there's somebody in the room that's been impacted by, say, a non-present parent, violence in their
Hmm.
home, or raised in poverty or duress of some kind.
Yeah.
There's everyone in the audience, or a mental health issue, all kinds of stuff. So it's neat to realize that it's everywhere. It's not just
Yeah.
what this place I go and to support other people at. It's in other places. It's pretty wild.
When writing music, what lyrically, like, what do your songs normally talk about?
I'd say about 75% of the time they're about things that have happened to me or that I've
Hmm.
experienced, that I can get behind, um, that I can sing every night for 20 years. If I can't get
Yeah.
behind the song, I can't really make up shit and just kind of like,
Yeah.
I can do that. I actually do it a lot with the people that I work with. And the people that I'm supporting, I made a comment recently that I've written 60 plus songs with strangers that don't write songs.
Yeah.
And I make up songs, but it's their story. It's authentic. They have their own vernacular, and it's cathartic for them and healing. And we write these songs, and I can make stuff up really quick on the spot to get them hooked and into what we're doing. But also, when I write my
Hmm.
own stuff, especially now, there's all these filters that come over me that go, "Oh, you've done that before. Oh,
Yeah.
this is the same melody that's familiar." All these things.
Yep.
So a lot of my tunes in the past have been about my story and how I got to be where I am, and a lot of them are my own healing songs. In a way, I didn't really realize what I was doing. I just thought somebody said, write what you know, and I just did that from the start. So I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
I didn't know there's supposed to be
Hmm.
some formula. And then I had other great people that were older than me that have been down this road a lot more, that just said, "Hey, the thing you're doing is cool because no one else is doing it. Just do what you're doing and
Yeah.
don't learn too much." And I was like, "Don't learn too much. I kind of want to learn how to get better." And they're like, "I want to learn to play these instruments. It was pointed out to me that for sure, but don't learn too much because you just sound like everybody else. And you know, I was like, okay, it was neat. I had good people around me when I started, so it's been great for that.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I've played guitar for like 20 years or something like that, and even just noodling around or playing stuff. Sometimes I'll try to come up with a chord progression, and I hear what I wish the chord progression was instead, or I like start playing it, and I'm like, oh, this I'm just trying to play this song, just or something like that. So I can't imagine what it's like to have actually written and performed songs for 20 years and keep that distance, or to not constantly be like, wait, haven't I done this before? This sounds familiar. Haven't I done this?
Mhm.
That would probably kill my creativity from time to time.
And lucky for me, I've had good, older role models that were very approachable, that were also
Hmm.
dads, you know. like super
Cool.
dads that were like, I'm a stay-at-home dad when I'm not on the road. So they go on the road and make their money and play music and get their rocks off and get their concert ticket punched. They go home and put their dad
Yeah.
pants on and be at pizza
Yeah.
lunches and taking their kids to the park and all the things and making making all the meals and doing all the household things. And
Yeah.
I had that example around me from older fellas that were doing that. And I was just like always amazed. I'm like, okay, you can do this. You just have to
Yeah.
put on your dad pants and turn off your other pants. So when I come home, my kids like to remind me all the time. They're like, Dad, nobody's clapping. Like, I just want to ride and I want some shredding, you know, like
That's
it's over.
awesome.
And it's really,
Yeah.
my wife says, you should take about a day and just rent a hotel room and just tell yourself that, no one's going to care soon and just decompress, in between the two worlds.
Yep.
But I like to come home right from jet lagged and messed up and feeling real high and real good about myself to the sound
Yeah.
of salad, the sound of nothing.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
it's almost like nothing happened. Now at this point, after every 3 months I go out and do 20 shows. That's kind of what we do now. The other guy that I play
Okay.
with, he's also a dad and he likes his kids and his partner as well. So both of us made a decision, and we've seen enough people that are touring musicians sitting around on a Monday, Tuesday in a Super 8 or a Motel 8, super comfort inn waiting for the next show. And she's a lonely road out there, and there's a lot of things you can do to yourself so that you don't last very long. And we both decided, like, hey, let's do this and still make sure our kids know what our names are. Let's really keep that goal in mind. And so I've been lucky to be able to. I play as a duo now most of the time, and the other guy I play with, we have the same philosophy of I want to be present. I want my kids to know their dad really well. So how can I do this while doing this other thing? It's kind of a neat balance, but we kind of decided 10 years ago what that balance was. We kind of figured it out. We had to tinker around and we realized, okay, 20 shows in a row, 20 nights in a row. We'll often fly in and play 20 nights in a row. And then after the last show, pack up, drive to the airport, get a red eye and go right home. And then, over and over again. It's great.
How many times a year do you do that?
Like I said, on average, probably every 3 months. Now we're kind of, sometimes it's busier, sometimes it's not as busy. Like, we just came back from a tour of the US last 10 days ago. We were down there for 20 shows in Texas, Louisiana, and Oklahoma. And now we're home. Actually, we're coming to Nashville to make a record for a week here in Christmas. And then in April, we go back out again. But not till April. And that's like a 4-month stint, which is pretty exciting, like when COVID hit my house and everybody had to stop, I was like, wow, I haven't stopped for 15 years.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. It was, I loved it. It was like the greatest thing. I'm like, please give me some more time out so that I have to get off this hamster wheel. I have to be present and participate in what's going on here. And I get to not have this other thing in my head going on all the time.
No, I mean,
pretty cool.
It's a weird thing to know that like COVID, while an awful scenario, did kind of shut a lot of doors and made you kind of sit at home and be like, oh, wait, what have I been sprinting for? I feel like I've been sprinting for my entire life. And now that I can't really leave my house, who the hell am I? And do I like my family? Like you had to like actually sit down and reevaluate. And I feel like most people were like, oh, I really like my family. Like I really like all these people I have in my life.
Oh yeah. And my wife too, she was she was like,
hopefully, right?
Oh wow, my oldest child is going to be here for longer than I thought. My oldest child is not going on tour. He's going to be home trying to do all the things I enjoy doing by myself, and we all get like that as we get older. We're like, I like to do it this way and I like to do it that way. So we spend, in my house, we don't have a problem with getting stuff done. We argue about who can do it better and more efficiently. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. How in Canada, when do kids like go off to college or university? Like about what age is that?
Typically 18 years old. Typically, on average, I would say they go to school, they leave the nest and go home. I'm trying to get mine out in advance a lot earlier and be an empty nester, but it's not happening. I realize I got at least at least 4 more years. I say, hey, when you're 16, I'm going to come visit you in your new place. And my wife keeps telling me that that's the olden days. Like kids don't leave when they're 16 anymore. You can't come out. They stay till they're 26 now.
Yeah,
So
pretty much.
yeah.
Hope you have a good basement that has
And
has a lot of room to it.
I don't blame them. I don't blame them. There's not a lot, the world's it's not a place to try to buy a home or build a career anymore. It's incredibly, the odds are against them right from the start. It's quite crazy right now. So I'm thinking about them, and I've been able to help my oldest through university. He's done most of it himself, but assist him quite a bit financially, more than I was assisted. And that felt really good, because when I left school, I was like, whoa, this is going to be, I might have to start from a hole here. And, even buying a home, I don't, it's kind of crazy. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they're doing it,
Yep. Nope. So I would have graduated college in 2010 or so. So pretty soon after the 2008 recession here in the States. And I think I found a job, and they offered me consistent pay and health insurance. And I was like, I don't care what the salary is. I'm just kind of amazed someone's willing to pay me consistently to do a job. Because sometimes, you get out of university or college and you're just like, all right, I know I'm supposed to go into the job world, but it doesn't, what I idealized as my first job out of college and what reality actually looked like by the time I graduated were very different things, just because of how the world is.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. And I'm somewhat of an older man now. And when I got out, I was like, thank God I picked something I like doing, being a school teacher. I was like,
yeah,
oh my God. And then I did it for 8 years. And then once I ate one of those kids, that was it for me. But I really liked the fact that I made a choice. I had a friend that was in journalism who, finished, and he's like, I don't even want to be in this career or many other career, like, what the hell did I do? And then lost for 5 years or 10 years, and then they find their way. But man, I feel lucky that I popped out with something I liked doing for at least 8 years,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What for your kids, what do you feel like? Do you feel like they'll have that luck also that you had of whenever they're in university actually choosing something they'll like to do?
I don't know. I'm not worried about if they go to school or what they do. I just want them to be happy and healthy and good to other people.
Yep.
And also a few skills, and the ability to overcome adversity and have some grit, so that, they know how to wash their clothes and feed their face and take care of themselves and think about the person beside them. And those things. I feel like there's a lack of that sort of inner fortitude that happens when you're forced to kind of grow up on your own. I was kind of grew up pretty quick on my own. So the things I was able to do at a young age are not, now they would be abnormal, be weird to be 17 living on your own and paying rent and all those things without your parents' help. But now it's quite normal for, mom and dad to buy a condo and use it as a rental for you till you leave and then sell it. Or you just live with them and you go to school and get 3 degrees and live in the basement. And still you can't get out, and then you can't get a job. So I don't know. It seems crueler for them than it did for us, but I don't know. I just hope that they, whatever they do, whether they keep going to school, and, of course now it's great to have a degree or of some sort or a diploma so that you can get, a higher paying job and all that. And just the experience of living on your own with a bunch of other young people and going to school is a whole other thing, right? They got to go through that experience. But I just think some of them can quit and go home and then pick another thing to do next year and not have to the lack of accountability is somewhat surprising now. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, I still remember in one of my classes, I failed the first test. And I remember thinking to myself, not man, I'll just retake it over the summer, but I paid for college myself. So whenever I got an F back on a test because I wasn't taking the class seriously, I got my shit together and figured out how to make sure I did well for the rest of the class, because I wasn't about to retake a class and waste all this money. But I had friends who like would fail a test and be like, man, I'll just retake the class later. And I'm like, how do you, I don't think that's freedom. I think it's just stupid. Like, just you're wasting money and you're wasting your time and your parents' money. Why are you doing this?
Yeah. That happens a lot. You see it, it happens a lot with people that are privileged. There's a lot of privilege like that where it's like, okay, and growing up, I grew up in a single household and 4 kids, single mom. And there was, some dark points to it, but the adversity that it taught me to overcome when shit goes sideways or things are out of your control, how to, take a breath and assess things and figure out, how to pick away at it, work your way through it, and keep your head up. It's not easy to do, when you're a young person. So I hope they have that skills. My wife is great. Glad we're on the same page as parents, because sometimes that can be a thing, where one of you has an idea about what should we be doing, and she definitely is on the same page. I think she has another level of like sternness. Her mom was like even a lot sterner, I think, than mine was for sure. But our kids, especially our 2 younger ones, I've raised my 2 older ones with my previous wife, and my 2 younger ones I'm raising now. As I watch this go down, and I'm seeing them, get ready for school, feed the pets in our house. They've learned how to use the espresso machine lately. They started making us coffee in the morning. And she said, no, just have a seat and read your book. This is amazing. And I'm like, read my book and you'll get a coffee if you just sit there. And then my son comes up, who's 10. He's like, hey, how do you like your, Americano, Papa? And I'm like, wow, what's going on here? Where am I?
Awesome.
So whether that, that's hopeful thinking here for a little while, but we're going to enjoy it right now,
Yeah. Give it a year or two. In a year or two, they'll probably like they'll throw the espresso machine out in the middle of the night or something like that. So if they're willing to make it this morning, that's awesome.
Exactly. And as much as I'd like to think I know what I'm talking about, sometimes I'm like, I'm the shittiest parent on earth, and I'm the shittiest dad. I'm like, what am I doing right now? What did I just say?
Yep.
I think it's important to sort of forgive yourself for being an ass, even when you think you're, or talking out your ass or whatever it is you think you're doing when you're in it,
Yep. No, I think, or what you said a little bit earlier, it's a weird thing to know how to teach another human of when things don't go your way, how do you react? Like whenever you don't get your way, how do you still be nice? How do you still be curious? How do you still like investigate the situation? Because I think most of the people I get annoyed with in my life are people who are like our age who don't get their way and throw a tantrum. And I look at them and I'm like, are you 2? Like, why are you acting like a small child? You're in your 30s, like, or your 40s. Why are you acting like this? And then it makes me think whenever my kids have tantrums, like, that's how I want to address this, to be like, hey, whenever you don't get your way, you have to still be, it sucks, but you have to figure out how to be nice to people still. It doesn't mean you get to do whatever you want because you don't get your way.
Yeah. Agreed. And it's hard to, and it's a crazy thing to learn how to, the self-awareness and insight is, and able to look at it and go, what am I doing here? And like, I'm going to lose today and I'm going to fail. And I don't think enough kids fail, allow their kids to fail and go, you failed. That's what it feels like. So that what it feels like. And then when you fail, what do you do? What's the next conversation? Why did it happen? What are you thinking about it? How does it feel? Yeah. Okay. So next time you try to, apply for that job you didn't get, or, that team that you didn't make, what are you going to do? My daughter recently didn't make a hockey team, an all-girls hockey team that she loves playing on, like just lives for it. Kept saying there's another level of participation that they want now because you're getting older and it's getting more competitive, and you can't just show up. Before there was just enough girls to make the team, and now there's more. And they're all competing to make make the team better, so that when they leave the Yukon, we're very far community, they can compete. And she didn't make the team. And instead of not getting out of bed, she just kind of walked around kind of confused. Like, I really didn't make the team. I'm like, okay, I'm really bummed out. Yeah, that's how it feels.
Yeah.
Okay, what can I do to, and I said, well, there's probably 2 things. Do you want to start working on them? Yeah. When? Right now. So there we
Cool.
are in
Yeah.
the driveway talking about them and working on them. And now she's playing, 2 months into the season or a month and a half. And she's like, okay, so I got those two things figured out. I still haven't gotten them yet, but I'm going to keep on them and discussing like, the goal setting,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's great.
Yep.
And this is a 12-year-old. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so good. I don't care what she does. Like, this is breaking down this whole thing is amazing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, it's because, what do you do with your disappointment? And I think I would like to believe our role as dads is whenever your child encounters disappointment, you're there to have the conversation with them of how do you process your disappointments? Because there are so many opportunities to figure out new paths, be resilient, and to figure out what the next step is. But if the first time you experience failure is in your 20s or 30s because you've been shielded from it your entire life, then like who's gonna be your mentor, who's gonna be your guide for that? So you almost want to put your kids in positions to fail when they're younger so they can know that they're okay and not like they're 20 or 30 and it's the first time they've experienced like disappointment,
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
Agreed.
it's real fun.
Agreed.
It's real fun.
Yeah. Well, and Devin, you and I know everything, so it's perfect. It's
yeah,
perfect.
that's it. Yeah. Because all my advice always works, just so you know.
Yeah, no, for sure. I like to think because I've worked with children, besides play, it's basically been my career that I know. I don't like to think that, but I always think in my mind, wait for my wife to kind of go through the conversation and she gets to the point that I think I want her to get to. And then I realize, oh, no. You don't know the answer to this either. You just think you do because you're supposed to, but you don't actually know what to do as well. And actually, wait a minute. You've been in this 9,000 situations, but there's always a new one, a new pickle to get out of,
Pretty much. I think it's always amazing whenever you have one kid and then you have another kid. And like the first moment when you realize like all the comfort techniques you learned for one kid, the next kid doesn't even vaguely care about. And now you have to relearn like everything for every single kid is always like the most humbling thing ever. Like my first daughter loved to be swaddled and rocked. Second daughter didn't want to be touched whenever she was screaming as a baby. So I'm like, how do I, this is very different reactions. How do I deal with this? So you're just humbled every single day.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And it's been the best thing to happen for me. I don't know if I had, when I had my first son, who's now 22, I used to go, oh my God, what's that sound? I'm trying to do something. Oh, it's crying again. Shit. Oh, it needs something? Fuck. I wish I'll feed it or change it or wash it or whatever.
Yeah.
And then just get it comfortable so I can go back to doing what I was trying to do, when I was 27 and I had my head up my ass. And then
of course.
my youngest one or my two youngest ones, they're like, Papa, look at that butterfly. And I'm like, oh, that is a nice butterfly. Let's catch it. We'll draw a picture of it. And then we'll make a poster. We'll get on the ground and we'll try to attract all the other butterflies in its family. And then we'll name it. And then we'll put it in a jar, crystallize it ferment the thing forever, show it to everybody, do a presentation, play with it for whatever. And then they're like, we should eat some lunch, and it's been 3 hours and I'm in butterfly land. On the floor doing something. Like, and I used to always think grandparents were strange because grandparents show up and they're all excited and they're just all the world. It's about their grandkids. And I'm like, wait a minute, they weren't that great with me as parents or whatever. And now they're just all invested. Why are they so invested in kids? It's because they're grown up and they realize how fleeting it is and they take every second in and enjoy it. It's so quick and it's so fleeting. And so I feel like a grandpa kind of dad now because I'm 50 and I've got a 10-year-old. And I'm like, okay, he wants to go sledding again. I'm like, this will keep me young. If I can go sledding with him again and pull him up the hill how many times, I'm going to last longer too,
Yeah.
So it's a different perspective being an older father and as opposed to when I was a younger one and distracted or, all these things that you are. So I'm quite enjoying it now more than I ever have actually, for sure.
Yeah. That's, we had our first two kids, they're 23 months apart. And then there's like a 3 or 4 year gap between our second and our third kid. And the third kid, I feel like we were much more mentally present for because the first two, it was like, what are we doing? We're parents. What is this? What do we do with these kids? And by the time the third one came around, it almost like we had enough examples of failure to realize like, okay, we need to be more mentally present because this is fleeting. He's not walking today. Next week he might be. So let's just try to enjoy the phases of life that he is, because we're now more aware of the fact that like it just goes by quickly. It always does.
And don't you think like how slowly like it happens in one sense, right?
Yes.
So they can't move. They can't get away from you. You can leave a baby on the
Nope.
floor for half a day and forget about it.
Yeah.
And it'll still be there until it makes a sound, right? And then it rolls
Yeah.
over and you're like, 3 or 4 months in, you're like, it rolls over and it starts making a sound. You're like, whoa, it slowly happens. Then it starts crawling and you're like, oh, I think we better take the plants off the floor. It's going to start eating
Basically.
plants. So it kind of trains you, whether you like it or not. I believe kids train you into becoming a caregiver of some sort.
Yes.
Maybe not the greatest one initially. You got to do some honing and some developing,
Yes.
but definitely, thinking about something else, and I, remember thinking at the people, I want to have a baby. I'm like, okay, get a dog.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Well, get a dog right away. Why would I get a dog if I want to have a baby? Oh, just get a dog for a little while. Like raise a dog. And then, you have to think about something else. You got to exercise it and you got to feed it. And it doesn't just stay like a cat for 3 days and survive on its fur and needs more attention than that, like a small child, Yeah.
Yep. Now, I think because I have 3 kids, and sometimes people will be like, what's it like being a stay-at-home dad with 3 kids? And I'm like, I didn't start with triplets. Like I eased into it. Like I wasn't suddenly just handed an 8, a 6, and a 3-year-old. I worked up to this point, and I'm like, oh, that makes more sense, because it's true. Yeah, your baby starts crawling. You look around and you're like, oh, they're gonna choke on that. Oh, that's gonna kill them. That's gonna kill them. That's gonna kill them. And then you just adjust. That's it. That's what you do.
You got some more tricks in your toolbox. You're like, okay, you fell. Looks like you shot yourself and banged your head. It's okay. You know what's great is that you're not going to remember this because A, you hit your head, and B, because you have a skull to protect your head. These skulls are amazing. Thank God you have one. And you start to loosen the reins a little bit, right? The first one, you're like, oh my God, I think it's windy. I think the wind's blowing on it, oh my God. It made a sound. Oh, should we check the diaper again?
Yeah.
And after a while, you're like, even sleep training. By the time my 4th one came, I was like, "Good night," and they're like, "Wah," and I closed the door and I never looked back. Sometimes I think that my youngest one still might be in a room somewhere, the door closed. But you change and adapt and grow and kind of mature and chill out and get a little wiser and stuff. Yeah. So when she comes home or your partner comes home and you've been home and you've been dadding it up, are you like, oh, thank God you're home? Or are you now like, oh, I give her a little transition time? Or you're like, oh, you're home. Please don't put your laundry there. And if you're going to bring your clothes, put them over here. And do you have your own like system set up? And like, do you get like possessive about your house when your partner's gone?
Oh, so yeah. So it changes day to day, realistically. My 2 older kids are in school. So like they're gone for most of the day and I'm home with a 3-year-old. But like, oh yeah, no, I'm not going to, if it's like, I do all the cooking and like all the grocery shopping and stuff. So no, if she comes home and she's like, where's this? I'm like, it's just over. Like, yeah, sometimes I'm definitely shorter than I realize I am. Or I'm like, yeah, if you want a snack, just go in there and get a snack. And I'm like, Devin, that's your wife. It's not your child. Like you have to yes, it's a lot of shifting around. She normally works from home, so she has like a home office. So I'm always just like, hey, if you're here, you're here, and if you're not, you're not, because like you have your own work world, you have your own mental space that goes into that. So like I'm mostly just like, hey, I'm feeding the kids at this time. If that works for whenever you're done with your meetings and stuff, please, like I'll hold off. If it's a little bit later, I'll hold off the minions as much as I can until they need to eat. But like I just try to over communicate. Like, here's what I'm doing. I want you to be a part of it. But also, if it's like 5:15 and the kids haven't eaten yet, they're just moaning and begging for snacks, and I don't want to give them more snacks. I want to give them dinner.
Yeah, this sounds eerily familiar. My wife works at home.
Does it really?
Yeah, in her office too.
Okay.
And when I am home, when the kids are gone all to school, I'm like, all right, what shall we do today? And she's like, I'm working. And I'm like, oh, maybe we could like have lunch. I can make you lunch. She's like, I'm going out to drive somewhere to meet some of the meetings. I'll come back. And then I have these all the things, Anyways, it's really funny.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Are you gonna go somewhere? Don't you have another job? Do you do besides this music thing?" Like, you know, I'm
Can't
like,
you
"Yeah,
breathe
but I
for a
thought,
bit?
I thought since I came home, or I'd make sure we didn't do anything for 3 days, but just just sit around and fawn over each other. Doesn't happen. It's really funny. So if you're still
It doesn't.
fawning over
It
each other,
doesn't.
Devin, just enjoy that because that starts to go away too as we get older. 10 years from now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. No, we have those moments all the time where I'm like, "Hey, when do you think you'll eat lunch?" And she's like, "Oh, I think around noon." And then it's like 12:30 and her meeting finally ended and she walks up and she goes, "I have 5 minutes until my next meeting. See you later." And I'm like, "Oh, all right. I thought we were going to eat lunch it's fine. I'm just okay, it's like
Yeah.
it's cool. I didn't make lunch or anything. It's
Yeah.
fine. But you
Like,
also didn't plan for your meeting to run late. It's fine."
Yeah. You got to say, don't don't you know who I think I am? I'm like the most important thing, honey. Like in your day.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Working from home, being with a home partner that works at home is a whole other deal too, of adjusting. We kind of figured it out during COVID pretty well, but still, she's always done that and been really good at it. And I'll just have this dying thing I got to ask her, like, "Oh my God, I got to know how to do this password, or I got to know how to like call this person back. And I just want to talk to her." And I go in there and I'm like, in the background waving. And she's like, busy doing all this stuff, and I'm like,
all the negative hand motions.
And I've often peeked over the laptop and seen like five people with suit and ties and look like they're in the Bank of America in the background. It's pretty funny.
Yep.
But I'm grateful for that too. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It is. I feel like we'll have the moments where like she has a gap in her day and like I just put the kid down for a nap and then like we don't have something to do for like 5 minutes and we're in the same room and we're almost like confused because we're like, "Wait, you're here. Yeah. I was just grabbing a coffee, but you're here and I like you and I want to talk to you, but also didn't expect to talk to you because I thought you'd be doing something else." And hi, how are you? That's what I should be saying.
I've got these old dirty dance moves I start putting on, and I throw in the Al Green and I start drawing the curtain. I'll try that sometimes, just to spice up the afternoon, and that
just to see what happens.
Just to be, hey, we're not dying here, you got to do what you can, right? When the kids are at school, Devin, you got to do what you can.
Yeah, of course. No, I understand. Good to know. Good to know. Mm-hmm. I do want to make sure to give you a chance to talk about, you are going to travel to Nashville to record an album and you have a Kickstarter going for it.
I do.
So I do want to make sure you have a chance to talk about the album you're going to record, the Kickstarter and all of that. So what made you choose Nashville to record an album? How's all that looking for you so far?
It's looking pretty good. I've never done this before, a Kickstarter campaign. Yeah. I've got lots of friends that have done it and they encouraged me to do it. They're like, "Gordie, you're out of your mind. Like, you can get yourself in debt and make a record, spend 20 grand to make a record or 30 grand, do all the things. And then you won't sell any because you can't sell music anymore." And I've been like stuck in this old school, I made 8 records where I'm like, I'm just going to keep selling 2 records a show or 10 records a show and more t-shirts and whatever, and pay off this outstanding line of credit or loan or whatever. That's what I've done for years. And just played more shows or worked harder at other things and to make it work. And I tried this model, and it's interesting to see, because a lot of my friends that are helping with artist friends that are like, "You have a lot of followers and a lot of people supporting you and you've been touring everywhere. Dude, you should not ask for 15,000 and you should ask for 25." And I'm like, 25, like the whole, like, that seems crazy. Like, "Oh no, you're out of your mind. Like, if 10% of the people that follow you threw in $2, you'd be on your way." And that hasn't happened. We're kind of at the halfway point with 5 days left. And I'm like, "Oh my God, this was a bad idea." And like, it's pretty humbling and pretty humbling. And also then you see who does support you and it kind of makes your heart huge. You're like, "Oh my God, I remember that person that I met in Baton Rouge." Yeah. Or Perth, Australia. Cool. And you're like, "Oh my God, we had that special moment together." And then they're investing in, your little thing that you're doing, your little community. It's pretty touching. So there's 2 extremes to it where you're kind of annoyed and like, "Oh my God, I can't believe, why doesn't everyone just throw, $50 in my direction? What's wrong with these people?" Like, what I do, and I naively, I've been doing this. So when I see other artists doing this, I've always been the guy that jumps on it right away thinking, I want that record. I want to support them, even if I don't actually like their music, but I actually like them.
Yeah.
Because you don't like everybody's music, but I meet them at festivals, and I'm like, I just like that person. I know what they're trying to do, and I want to help them. And so
Yeah.
I thought I got some good karma here.
Yeah.
I feel like I do. This is going to be okay. So I've also had some people step in to say, hey, don't worry, buddy. We're going to let everyone else get on board. And at the end, we'll help push you over the top. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what that means. I've never done,
Oh, cool.
I've never done this, right? So we'll see. We'll see in 5 days. I'll find out, if I'm out of my mind or what. So that's been a different experience for sure. Out of all the experiences I've had in this business, going to Nashville it's kind of funny for two 50-year-old guys to go to Nashville and make a record. Which we think is really funny. But we know there's a whole other scene in Nashville that's not, pop country, and Shania Twain.
Nope, not at all. Yep.
So there's a whole other thing going on. And we went through a bunch of records that we like to listen to. And both of us just decided, we picked like 3 guys who make records that we liked. And we just started approaching them all and talking to them.
Yeah.
And Nash Chambers, who lives in Madison, East Nashville, said all the right things and asked more questions and was on the same page instantly. And we're like, okay, this is like, this seems like a good fit.
Yeah.
He hasn't screwed up so far. We've never met the guy. So it's a wild trip to show up.
That's crazy, though.
It's kind of crazy to basically do an all or nothing Kickstarter campaign. Like, you have to raise the 15 grand or you don't keep any of the money. It's this weird thing, right? And I thought, oh, what fun. And I made a joke like, hey, if you don't fail, you don't learn anything. And I'm like, Jesus, I don't actually want to fail this time. And then also, I'm like,
I'm not looking for lessons. I'm not looking for lessons.
Not at this age. Like me, I'm like, shit, I don't need this lesson. And then also, damn, I'm going to go meet this guy who's like, I heard the songs. Here's the rhythm section. I rented this big room. Let's track it for 2 days and then do overdubs. And then I made a joke we're going to show up, meet this person. I kind of like that he doesn't know what we do. I kind of like that he does kind of know what we do and kind of who we are. And I love that we're putting something after you do a certain amount of projects, you put something in the hands of a stranger and to see what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And all the things they've learned, they're going to put into the thing that you've been learning. So that whole relationship, it might be a stink bomb. It might be like, oh my God, let's not release this. I'm like, Jesus, he seemed like a nice guy, but that's sorry, bud. We can't share this with our kids. Never mind the public. Yeah. Or it might be the greatest thing we've ever done, Devin, and I may never have to work again. And while we're both doing this interview, we'll getting a foot rub. Even you, I'll be able to send someone to your house to rub your feet.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice. Yeah,
while you're interviewing me, right? That's so
that's the level of stardom you're about to approach.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep my expectations low, my gratitude high, and I think that it's just a new project and a new direction as far as what to do next, And I'm excited about doing that. And I'm making this, it's a duo record. I've never done that with a guy I've been touring with with him for 10 years now. And we're like brothers. Cool. So to do this one-off duo record, maybe it'll turn out to be, we're call this Brooks and Dunn, and we're on the road now in buses and with foot masseuses. You never know, Devin, you never know.
There you go, man.
Yeah. But we might need a stay-at-home dad that can do podcasts and promo stuff. Yeah. You never know, Devin.
Yeah. I mean, hit me up. I am always down for the conversation. Do you know where you're recording at or where you're going to track at? Has the guy told you the studio yet?
Yeah, he showed me the name of the main room we're going to track into. I don't know it off the top of my head. I've seen pictures of and stuff. Cool. It just looks like a friend of his with a big room. I think it's a legendary Nashville studio room, like, a Muscle Shoals kind of thing, or in terms of something like that. Just not in Nashville, but somewhere Alabama. But I think whatever it is, he knows what he's doing. He's done this before, and we like all the records he's made. So it's kind of like, okay, let's see what he does with this. And as long as we do our end, which is show up with the songs, which we feel really great about, actually. So we hope we don't stink it up, and we all don't stink it up together,
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
If you want famous Nashville studios, you could say RCA Studio A,
Mm-hmm.
RCA Studio B, or Blackbird. Those are, if someone says, if he is like, hey, you're recording in RCA Studio A,
Yeah.
then you should be like, oh shit, I'm recording in the spot, just so you know.
Yeah, and I do know those rooms, and I've heard of those rooms. I think
Good.
Dave
Yep.
Cobb uses those rooms, or
RCA Studio A is Dave Cobb. Yes.
Okay, that's who it is. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I going into it with eyes wide open, and like I said, low expectations. So other than it's a project, it's a one-off project that we're going to enjoy. We've been playing a lot of these songs live, and so we'll have them on a record. It'll be fun to put them in a vinyl and do that whole thing. You know. Yeah.
And ultimately, it's always good to challenge yourself, especially creatively. And maybe you'll be hiring foot masseuses for the rest of your life, or you'll forget this album came out in a year. But hopefully, the foot masseuses is in your future.
Yeah, I'm rooting for the foot masseuse, and not for the don't play that song in my company again, please. Thank you.
It's. Yeah,
but I don't think that's going to happen. We I think we're going to like it. So. And that town, I was just down there for Americana Fest last year, and we're going to go to Americana Fest again this year, and we loved it. We were like, this is, it's got tons of friends we hadn't seen that are on the road that we know well, and then just the kind of like specific to what we do kind of vibe. That was going on just for the kind of music that we play was like, okay, we're like country folk and blues, Americana kind of stuff, original, raw, off the beaten path, scruffy around the collar kind of music. And it was everywhere and full of loving people that were loving it, because we feel like we're kind of a niche thing that plays for 100 people a night, but in a lot of different places. But it's very niche, in a sense where it's not mainstream, breakthrough mainstream kind of stuff. And we wouldn't love doing that anyway. So it's neat to go there and see the other side of Nash, that Nash Vegas thing that's going on there. There's a whole other East Nashville thing, and now East Nashville is growing too. It's all growing.
Yep,
crazy.
Very much so. You should try to, if you can squeeze in a gig somehow at the 5 spot. That's where like Sturgill Simpson and Margot Price, whenever they first moved into town, that's kind of where they cut their teeth. There's been a lot of like famous people who like on Thursday nights would just go to the 5 spot and like play music and stuff. And if you were in the know, you would just kind of show up and be like, oh, here's someone who is doing amazing things, just casually playing a set for like $10 on a Wednesday or Thursday night.
Yeah, that is definitely a special thing to do. And because I made a record last time and then played a show during that time we were recording, and it's such a weird thing. It was a terrible show because we were so deconstructed 12 songs and reconstructed them and focused entirely on doing these 12 songs. So then we had to play a show at the end of the recording experience on the last night, and we were fried. And also our brains were stuck in a whole other gear, studio gear. It's a totally different process. So I hear what you're saying, and taking advantage of being there to do something like the 5 spot would make sense if I hadn't had the experience I just had, where I was like, okay, just make a good record and spend your whole time sitting at nighttime going, how can we make this better tomorrow, and focusing just on the record. We're going to come back in September of 2025 and do that whole thing again. Come down the East Coast there.
Okay.
For sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Whenever you go from wondering what overdub is going to make a song that much better, and then suddenly someone's like, play a new song, you're like, crap, what guitar part? I was just thinking of like an alternate strumming pattern for this song. I don't know how to actually play this live. Give me a second.
You're a mess. Yeah. I was anyways, and my partner who I play with, we're both like, oh my God, we are toasted. We're toasted from focusing so intently on the best take of whatever and ideas, and just expleted all your creative juices. You want to use them all. You don't want to save any, and you do that when you're in the moment. You just go for it. And so it'll be neat to do that with Strangers. I'm pretty pumped to see what happens with Strangers. I'm not young and naive, and it's not my first or second record, so I won't be too uptight about things. Nothing's really precious.
Yeah.
At this point, so just that whole experience where you go into making some art. We're going to go make some art for 7 days. And then if we like it, and that's what we had, it's a little time capsule, what we did while we were there. And maybe we'll go make 7 records in Nashville. Who knows?
Yeah.
You never know.
That's awesome. Nope. I love it. I love I believe in that a lot of like, yeah, you go into a room, you record, you have what you think the idea of a song is going to be, and it's beautiful. And it is, I think it's like getting a tattoo. Like maybe in 5 years you look at it and you're like, I'm really proud of this tattoo. But sometimes 5 years later, you're like, I don't know if that tattoo was the best idea.
I should have got that one on my bum too. Yeah. Yeah. Damn.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was I thinking?
So,
yeah.
Nope. But that's the reality of making music and making art is you have to live with it for the rest of your life. And that's a beautiful and a terrifying thing all at the same time.
Absolutely. And then now, as you know, this will be my 9th record. I'll be like, I'm more like, okay, I know what I don't want to do. And I know what I want to do. Yeah. I'm like, I want to listen to this. Cause after you make them, you don't even want to hear them. You've heard them so much making them that you don't want to hear them ever again. And then when you do, you're like, a couple years later, I'm like, okay, I like that one. I think I'm going to listen to my whole. Good. I'm going to drive down the road and listen to my whole record I made 7 friggin' years ago. It's quite a weird thing. The weird thing. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Be a stay-at-home dad. Get out of the music business. That's what I think. That's going to happen. Yeah.
Hey man, now I sit here and get to critique people's stuff as opposed to actually be in the room, right? Yeah, that's the whole goal.
Yeah, exactly.
So how we end every episode is we ask every guest the same 5 questions. So it's not rapid fire. You have time to think about it and everything. The first question, did you have any backup names for any of your kids? Like any names where you're like, oh, it could be this name or it could be that name, anything like that?
I always had one that or two, Rodriguez Mustafa, that I'd always bring up. Like, what do you think we should name her? I think we should name her Rodriguez. And or and all these things, or he, and that didn't go too well.
Didn't work out.
No, it didn't work out so well. Yeah. So there's certain things you should be allowed to do. Naming children, I don't think I should be allowed to do.
Good to know. I won't. If we somehow end up with a 4th kid, I will not come to you for name suggestions.
Do not. Other than Gordie, don't. That's all I got.
Okay. Okay. Good to know. Next question. Do you have a favorite TV or movie dad?
I'm thinking of my days after school watching Three's Company and Gilligan's Island and I'm not a TV guy, so TV dads. Okay. I can't think of one. My friend.
Okay. Here's a backup question for you.
Okay.
You might not have it anymore, but do you have a replacement curse word? Like whenever you're really angry and you shouldn't be cursing in front of the kids, but you need to say something to express the fact that you're angry, or do you just curse?
Instead of fuck, I say frick. Yeah. My immediate frick.
Frick.
Yeah. Frick. And they're like, they do this with their eyebrows, and they know that it was close to a fuck. That's about it. Yeah. Shiza, or there's a bunch of them.
Shiza, yeah.
And because I travel, I have some really bad, European ones too. All kinds of little swear words that don't make any sense, but they cover. That's awesome. They cover the hole that needs to be covered.
Nice. Next question: do you have a least favorite kids show? Like whenever your kids would watch it, you'd almost walk out of the room because you were so annoyed by it, or anything like that, or like kids movie that they watched 5 million times.
The Backyardigans, and the Backyardigans is a great show. You got to watch it, but you do. It actually is made for you as well, Devin. Okay, but that one and the one with they rescue everything. The pets?
Rescue Rangers or something?
Oh, no, the rescue ones with the dog that rescues things. And Dora the Explorer. Oh, my God, Dora the Explorer. Oh, my God, that, I can still, hear, I shouldn't have said it there. I can hear her. I can hear all the characters in that show.
I didn't mean to give you PTSD. That was not the intention.
It's okay.
Of the question.
Yeah, those ones, I recommend watching them. Backyardigans is tolerable, but I think we watched, 10,000 hours of it. Yeah, my oldest.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Next question. Favorite kids' toy or activity? Like whenever your kids play it or do it, you also enjoy doing it with them.
Lego. It'd have to be Lego.
Lego? Yeah, Legos are awesome.
Puzzles are Lego, for sure.
And, last question. Moment of your kid's life you're most excited to be a part of. You can do it general or you can do it specific. Like, as you think of your kids going through their life, is there any specific moment or vibe or anything like that where you're like, man, I really hope I'm a part of that in their life?
Oh, wow. Good question. Great one.
Thank you.
I think seeing them stand on their own 2 feet and do something and watching, knowing that you know that they know how to do it because you've taught them or you've gone through with them before, but you can't help them. And you have to watch them, and then they do it, and they look over at you, and they know that they learned that from you, and they're looking at you like, look at that. That's pretty good. I can go to sleep tonight when I think of, or any night when I think of those, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's true.
Yeah.
Sweet. The other thing we always do to end an episode is just, we want to follow you on Instagram, like do some self-promotion, basically. How do we find you? How do we find your music? If we want to follow your Instagram or social media accounts, all that good self-promotion stuff, you know?
You can go and you can Google me and start stalking me. I welcome all stalkers. My name is Gordie Tentrees. It's not 9 trees or 8 logs or 7 frogs or 6 rivers. But Gordie Tentrees, just like it sounds, you can do that. And my favorite TV dad, I think actor dad, was Chevy Chase. Anything with Chevy Chase.
Oh, yeah.
You know, anything that dad that's like, Dad, why are you licking that thing? You know, and he's like, well, I just thought it was, you know, I should clean up after myself. That kind of character. Anything that he was in, I'm trying to think about the ones with his kids in that they're, you know, driving across America or they're driving across
family
somewhere.
Vacation.
Yeah, that kind of
National
stuff.
Lampoon stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my jam right there. There you go.
Cool. We'll accept it.
Thanks for having me, my friend.
Gordie, dude, thanks a lot for hanging out, doing a phone call and all that. And thanks for just letting us know what's going on in your life.
What a pleasure. I think it's a great idea what you're doing, and I think more people should be doing it.
But Gordie, thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time, all right?
Take care.
Thanks so much for listening. Please make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at the Nashville Dads, and make sure to follow us on anywhere you find your podcast, and please give us a 5-star rating. And thank you to Matt Oakes for providing the music for the episode. Catch you next time.